Today, I'd like to talk about a feature that Google Stadia is missing. Before we get to that, I want you to make sure that if you haven't already, you click that thumbs up button and you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click the bell so that you get notified every time that I go live or post a new video. With that being said, I'm Bill. I host StadiaCast, and let's get started on the feature that I think Google Stadia is missing and needs to add. So this video actually started out as a reply that I was typing to a conversation that we were having in our community Discord. Link in the description down below. If you haven't already joined, make sure that you do. There's like 1,000 people in there, and we all have great conversations about video games. But they were talking about features that they wanted added to Google Stadia, and somebody brought up the idea of suspending software. This is something that is in most modern consoles. And for me, I don't know that I would have finished some of the games that I did finish if not for this feature. An example that I will give you is Breath of the Wild. I have 200 hours in Breath of the Wild, and it's not the kind of game that really lends itself to short bursts, but because of the suspend feature of the Nintendo Switch, it just made it so easy for me to just reach up, power it off, set it down, go do whatever it is that I had to do, come back, turn it back on, and pick up exactly where I left off. This is fantastic for games that do not let you save whenever you want. Breath of the Wild lets you save whenever you want, but there's a lot of games out there that don't. Now, in a perfect world, I feel like the developers would just let you save your game whenever you want. They wouldn't have save points. I do understand that that kind of goes against the this idea that, you know, the game designer has designed their game in such a way, and this is the way that it's meant to be played, with the saving here and not saving whenever you feel like it, in order to, I don't know, prevent people from save scumming, in order to prevent people from gaming the system, in order to make the experience of playing their game the best it could possibly be. And while I understand that, I also think that in a perfect world, more developers would understand that our time playing games is limited. I'm a busy guy. I've got a bunch of podcasts. I have a wife. I have kids. I do Taekwondo with my family. We don't always have time to sit down for an extended period of time and play a game. So when the save points are a little too far apart, or even if they're spaced enough for most people, but I get interrupted halfway between two save points, I have to just, on Google Stadia, I have to just say, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to redo that stuff that I just did. And that can be very, very frustrating, especially if you just accomplished something very difficult and you're going to have to do it all over again because you can't save right away. That can be incredibly frustrating, I'm sure. I don't always have time to get from one save point to the next, and the suspend feature is a lifesaver when it comes to me getting distracted by needing to go be a dad or a husband or whatever else it is. You know, maybe my dad calls and says that he's going to come over, or, you know, whatever it is that's distracting me from playing the game. On other systems, on my PlayStation, on my Switch, I can just hit a button and say, all right, I'm going to come back later. And while it would be wonderful if all developers just built it in where you could just save the game whenever you want, we all know that that's not going to happen. Developers want you to play their game the way that they want you to play their game. So it really falls on the platform holders to fix this for us. And how can they fix this for us? By giving us the suspend feature. Now, most modern consoles have this. Google Stadia does not. I've brought up the comparison between console and PC for Google Stadia and where does it fit. This is one of those times where Stadia feels more like a PC than it does like a console. For me, I look at Stadia as more like an equivalent to a console. The primary input method is the controller. On top of that, the publishers tend to price games on Stadia the way that they price games on other consoles. But in this case, it feels so much more like a PC because a PC does not have that suspend software feature that the consoles do. And that's, of course it doesn't. You can't lock down your system, your entire computer just to hold on to what you're doing in this game. That's not the way that computers work. That's the way that consoles work because they can really only do one thing at a time. Now, look, I'm not a software engineer. I don't know how hard this is to implement. It's definitely different than the implementations that we have on current modern consoles. The reason is because it's a shared machine. So let's say that there's two people that live in a house. And they both play games, and they both play games on the PlayStation. So person A is sitting there, they're playing Skyrim. They get to a certain point. They just hit the home button and put the PlayStation in sleep mode. They go to work. Person B walks in the room, turns on the PlayStation. They decide to start playing Apex Legends or something. That save point, or not really save point, but that suspend point that person A had put there, that's now destroyed. It's gone. So if person A didn't actually save, then they're going to have to redo stuff. And that's the way that you have to look at Google Stadia because it is a shared console. It's shared with a lot of people. Whoever happens to want to play on it at that time shares it. They're going to be the ones who are using it. So you can't do a suspend point with Google Stadia the same exact way that you do on the other consoles. And the reason that you can't do it is because it's a shared device and there's no communication between all of the people who are sharing that device. So is it impossible? I don't think so. But again, I'm not a software engineer, so what the hell do I know? What I would guess is a way that it would work is if you could hold down a button, maybe the 3-line button on your Stadia controller. If you hold this button down for 10 seconds or something, it creates a save point, not necessarily a save point, a suspend point. I keep calling it by the wrong thing. It'll create a suspend point that is then linked to your account. And then the next time that you play, you load up Stadia and you hold down that button, it loads in exactly where you left off. Is this is this possible for somebody to do? I don't know. But all I know is that it would definitely improve my personal experience with Google Stadia because there's been a couple of times where I've had to do things over again because I was playing and I just couldn't get to the save point before I had to go do something. So that's a feature that I feel that Google Stadia is missing. And I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're making comments down below, why don't you let me know about any features that you feel that Google Stadia is missing. Thank you very much for watching. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you get notifications next time I post a video or go live. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.